September 22nd, 2025, District 7 Board of Education meeting. Carrie, would you please call the roll?
Bertles. Here. Sanderson.
Here.
Ahart.
Here.
Bauer.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
Carver. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Proctor. Patey.
Here. Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the meeting this evening. At this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the September 22nd, 2025 agenda has been presented this evening.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Carrie, please call the roll.
Bertles.
Yes.
Carver. Yes. Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the, sorry. I don't think I ever in front of my script there. We'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on August 25th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Carrie, please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Carver. Yes. Patey.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the board's executive closed special session meeting held on September 8th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Carrie, please call the roll.
Brian.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Carver. Yes. Patey.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Okay, at this time, Dr. Shelton will provide a superintendent's report.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you everybody for being here this evening. Got some visuals to accompany the superintendent report this evening. Starting out with Lincoln's 100th anniversary celebration on Sunday, August the 31st. We had several hundred people attend a community open house and ribbon cutting. Students from Lincoln Middle School and Eversville High School provided tours of the new addition as well as the 1925 first floor renovations. We appreciate, it was a holiday weekend, but appreciate everybody coming out for that special celebration. On September the 11th, students at many District 7 schools honored those who lost their life with moments of silence and gathering around the flagpole. Shown are two of the events that were held in District 7 at Glen Carbon Elementary and Lincoln Middle School. Events like this are vital to connect our students with what's going on in the world around them, and want to highlight those. I want to congratulate the EHS girls flag football team for launching their season this year. I announced their first game at our last meeting. I want to thank everybody that came out. They had a fabulous crowd for their first game on August the 26th. They had a great student section, marching band, and a fabulous crowd, provided them with a wonderful way to kick off their season. If you haven't been to see them yet, they are a fun team to watch. The next game is this Wednesday, September 26th at 6 p.m. at Tiger Stadium. Today, we are launching a new feature to the District 7 website called You Asked, District 7 Answered, where individuals from the community can submit questions or things they've heard, and we will answer those things on our website. While there are places that you can put your phone number, email address, and name, you certainly can also submit anonymous things. So if you hear on the street that maybe we're selling Hadley House, you can put it on there, and we can put something on our website that says we're not selling Hadley House. We're working on Hadley House. So just try to clarify things out in the community. And then wanted to just highlight a few upcoming dates. There's no school on Monday, October the 13th. That's also the week that we kick off homecoming at the high school. So the homecoming parade is on Wednesday, October the 15th, homecoming game on Friday the 17th, and then a dance on the 18th. There's also no school beginning Wednesday, October 29th through Friday, October the 31st, as we have parent-teacher conferences on Wednesday and Thursday, and there's no school on Friday for an Institute Day. And that's also a great way to kick off the Halloween parade that night. And that's all I have for this evening.
At this time, Claire Johnson will provide the junior student representative report.
Sorry, I decided to go all crazy on me at the last second. Good evening. I'm just going to give some upcoming dates. And tonight we're highlighting the middle schools. I reached out to a bunch of people earlier this month, and we were talking about like if specific schools had anything going on, to like reach out so that I can highlight them in my report. So if any building administrators or teachers have anything that they want to brag about, let me know. There's upcoming district dates. 8th grade families, if you're interested in signing up for the Washington, D.C. trip, you must sign up by October 10th. And for any questions, ask Miss Emling. Okay, middle schools. Liberty Middle School, congratulations to 8th grader Alex B. for qualifying for the IESA Golf State. Alex had great success competing against some of the best golfers in the state. Great job, Alex. Congratulations to the Liberty softball team on an awesome season and earning the title of sectional champions. The Panthers put up a great fight in their state tournament on Friday as well. Way to go, ladies. Congratulations to the Liberty baseball team on an accomplished season this year and a competitive game against Lincoln in their regional championship earlier last week. And then Lincoln Middle School, congratulations to the Lincoln baseball team on becoming regional champions this past week. Your hard work has not gone unnoticed. That is all I have.
Cool. Oh. And just in time for the senior student representative report. Fine if it's done extemporaneously.
Good thing I printed it out this way.
There you go.
Okay, sorry, just in time. So this year is already in full swing as we are in week 5 of school. Reminder for high school students, this year is a little bit different, so finals will be January 14th through 16th after Christmas break. Congrats to the EHS football team for their win on Friday night against Belleville West, and good luck at your game this Friday. Sorry. Congrats to the EHS football team for their win on Friday night against Belleville West. 2 students at EHS, I'm so sorry.
Take the
I ran in here. EHS Student Council is putting on EHS Homecoming Dance on October 18th. The theme is Let Me Take You to Rio. Tickets are $25. Edwardsville High School just announced 7 students that were recognized as National Merit Commended Scholars. These students were among the top 34,000 students out of the 1.5 million students who took the test. EHS chamber singers were performed the Star Spangled Banner at the Fold of Honor Gold Golf Tournament, which is dedicated to honoring U.S. veterans. EHS Science National Honor Society is presenting their Parent Night Out event called Science Fun Night. This event will be held at the high school on November 14th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. Congratulations to the Edwardsville boys and girls cross country team for bringing home team titles at the Edwardsville Invitational on Saturday. EHS FFA members were partnered with State Representative Charlie Meyer and collected used tires from across the county, which will be recycled to help pave roads. EHS girls swim team won first place and freshman and sophomore team in second at the Iron Invite. Congratulations to all these girls. Girls flag football is making history at EHS first girls flag football team with a record of 4-1 and many more wins to come. Sorry for my out of breathness.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. At this time, does any board member have a report to share?
I do. On September 13th, I attended an ISB Super Saturday Conference for new board members that was held in Collinsville. I was in attendance with approximately 30 other new board members from in and around the region, and we learned about and discussed the roles and responsibilities of school board members. It was a very rich dialogue and allowed me a window into the different types of issues faced by school boards and districts of varying sizes, and I look forward to having additional opportunities to connect with board members from across the region at future such events. In addition, this morning I had an opportunity to tour Hamel Elementary. I just wanted to thank the teachers and the principal for giving me that tour and showing me around their wonderful school.
Awesome. Go. Anybody else? Yeah.
I wanted to thank Lincoln Middle School for having me, as well as Hamel for the tour. I'd already taken the tour during our ribbon cutting, so I saved Michael a little bit of time to spared him the time to take that tour. But we had great collaborative conversations, both Michael and Matt or Matthew. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's not the last time I'll be there. So if there's any teachers that want me to come in and you want to brag about your class and your kiddos, I'm more than welcome. We'll just set up a time and we'll make it happen. But thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Awesome.
Sorry, Bob, I have one more.
Okay.
I also wanted to thank Katie Beavis and O'Neill for giving me a tour of Cassins, one of my schools that has adopted me this year. So it was a real pleasure to get to walk around and see what's going on at Cassins.
We did not coordinate this at all. But I was just going to say, I had the pleasure last week of going to Warden for their PTO meeting and got to see their school improvement plan. And it was really great. And it's the second one I've gotten to see. And I think for me, sitting through a couple of those now, it really kind of strikes home the point that every district, but in particular this one, I mean, we're all a team. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about certain aspects of the school, but it's really hard sometimes to remember that everyone is important and we all sort of work together to pull it together. I think, you know, the administrators, I'm seeing a lot of good things out there, and I know teachers are part of that, but I also want to recognize the administrators, the principals, the assistant principals that are out there working hard too, because you know, sitting through a couple of these school improvement plans, they don't happen on their own, and it takes people to pull it all together, and it's noticeable. I think I'm starting to see a lot of positive things, a lot of positive reports that are coming to us that I'm very excited for the public to start seeing next month when those start coming out. So I just want to make sure that everybody kind of comes away feeling like that, you know, it's not just one person, it's not just one individual, but it's the entire team that's really kind of pulling all these things together. So anything else?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
to visit Columbus as well as Goshen schools, and got to visit into some of the classrooms with some of the students and see just a variety of teaching habits and variety of classrooms, but yet they are all unique, but yet they're all working hard to, as you said, educate the students and appreciate their work as well as the all the support staff and everyone else like that too. But those two are my two schools for this year, and it was interesting and fun to go around to see the different students in the halls and the way that the halls were decorated and things like that as well.
Cool.
And then I want to report. I went week before last, I went to visit the PTO at Glen Carbon. That's one of my assigned schools. And the Principal Rogers presented their school improvement plan, and her team. I want to give just her credit. I am so impressed with these school improvement plans. It's just really neat to see that cohesiveness and their learning experiences and all that. And then I also did a tour last week. She walked there. I had a grandson that went there many years ago, and it's changed a little bit since then, but it was neat to see it. And then tomorrow I will be at Midway to go on a tour there to see that. I haven't been to Midway at all, so I don't even know what the outside, other than pictures, looks
Right.
like.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm
Well, I
excited
don't want
about
to be
that.
the only one who share.
I was hoping you would be singled out as being the delinquent.
Where did
So
you
last
go,
week I
Matt?
did Liberty, watched their school improvement plan, and then tomorrow I have, not Nelson, Leclerc.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that's good. Okay. Without anything else, we'll move on to recognition of visitors. Okay, at this time, anyone wishing to address the board? I do have a list, so before I get to the list, I'm going to say my spiel so that we can all sort of move on here. Okay, I'd like to remind our public that this portion of the meeting for a maximum of 60 minutes time is reserved for comments from the public in accordance with policy 2230, public participation at Board of Education meetings, and petition of the board as follows. This will be the only opportunity to address the board during the regular meeting. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. A screen timer will be provided. Individuals may not defer their time to another speaker. If your comments are about matters involving students or district personnel, please refrain from disclosing names. Please understand that the board will not respond to questions made during public comment, but may direct the superintendent to address these questions in a district communication or at a subsequent board meeting. Please remember that the board generally needs to gather additional information about any questions or concerns prior to responding or taking action. At the conclusion of the meeting, if you have additional questions for the board, please see the board secretary. Okay. And they're checking me here. They gave me like 4 pages of different people. So, okay, so first name up is Jennifer Sparks. If you didn't sign up, we'll make sure you come in at the end.
Tonight, I would like to thank the board for your open dialogue and interest regarding Hamel Elementary School. Unfortunately, the original $15.2 million of the allocated funds is no longer available from the bond monies to complete the Hamel project as originally presented. The aesthetics of Lincoln took precedence over the education, functionality, and promises made to a rural school. Now the board needs to make a decision as to how to spend between $4 to $7 million instead of the 15.2. The superintendent and BLDD architects presented the 2 options to the staff at Hamel, and the consensus was if the original proposal is not a feasible plan, then option 4, at the minimum, would address some of our instructional and facility needs. In addition, the staff gave both positive and negative feedback about the designs presented, and hopefully these have been shared with you. I would like to take a moment to remind the board and the public that Hamel was slated as a Phase 1 project and Columbus Gymnasium as a Phase 2. I understand that some community members feel it is more important to build a new gymnasium for Columbus because it serves 380 students versus Hamel serving 140 students. But the truth is, all students are equally important. The theme for the school year is All Means All. The students in the northern area deserve no less than any other school. I would agree that Columbus needs a new gymnasium as well. Both projects were included in the bond proposal for different reasons and both important, but Hamel should not be disregarded. A question which keeps being asked by different board members and staff members, wasn't the $15.2 million originally slated for Hamel? And somehow the answer which keeps being given is that the $15.2 million was for the consolidation of Midway and Hamel. But if you look at all of the documents presented to the previous and the current school board, none of the cited district documents state that the $15.2 million was for consolidating Midway and Hamel. According to the district's timeline, Hamel was actually supposed to be completed by the summer of 2025, and Midway appears as a separate issue for repairing water issues in the school building. I ask the board members, if you have not had the opportunity to take a tour of each school in our district, which sounds like some of you are beginning to do, that you do so. Seeing the many disrepair issues of the older buildings will need to be addressed, including Hamel's concerns. As a district, we cannot continue to focus only on a select few schools for aesthetics. This is about commitment, not slogans. Hamel's Phase 1 promise should not be delayed while our kids pay the price. Publish the timeline, fund it, build it, and restore accountability and trust. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm reading the Sawyer Heck.
Do I just talk? Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
District 7 has problems, not just problems with poor quality paper towel dispensers, but a problem of policy and commitment. I would like to take these 3 minutes to discuss the decision to lower the flag half-mast on the 11th of September for Patriots Day. I understand why the flag was lowered for that day, but I was appalled at District 7's decision to leave that flag at half-mast for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Now, I'm in no way celebrating Kirk's death. Nobody deserves to die an early death or rather have been murdered. But that man is someone who has loudly and proudly sown seeds of hateful rhetoric into the minds of youthful Americans. Mr. Kirk had once stated that it's worth to have the cost, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. This man does not deserve the flag to be lowered at half-mast a day, let alone a week. But on the topic of gun violence in schools, it also surprises me to see that the board has taken little to no action in trying to prevent a school shooting event at our own district. According to the Illinois Early Childhood Asset Map, District 7 is the largest school district in Madison County, and it unnerves me that the board has taken little to no consideration to the thought that we might be next due to the scope and proximity of larger neighboring cities, e.g. St. Louis, and the district's proximity to rural weapon shops for sports shooting. The thought in everyone's mind whenever a school shooting happens is that this isn't a tragedy and there's no way it can happen to us until it does happen to us. I have not once seen this board in the 4 years I've attended EHS take into consideration what is best for the students and faculty safety. I understand that this year they've added metal detectors to the football stadiums and the front door at high schools, but why have them if you choose not to use them? Rather than worry about investing in new gun safety methods, this board has bickered about firing exemplary teachers, which I must remind you, the United States is currently in a teacher shortage, so that the district can have more money for a gaudy new track and money for a warehouse that eventually will not be used anymore. I personally talked to the superintendent of a neighboring school district, and I'm paraphrasing here. I understand the need for the firing of faculty to make room for budget, but the method of which District 7 carried out these firings is not correct. Focus on what is the real concern, what your job is meant to do. Focus on the welfare, the betterment, and the safety of the students in District 7. Your student reporters will not say this because they tend to focus on the major events such as the school year starting up, homecoming, and what the latest big drama event has been. But you have students that are afraid to come to schools for fears not seeing their loved ones at the end of the day. You have students who have personally come up to me and asked me to buy them lunch because they cannot afford it, or rather their parents believe that they don't need food at school and force them to go hungry. This is not a matter of being financially secure, this is an example of being abusive. Since this scenario has happened to me, I can assure you that this has happened to others as well. District 7 has a lot of problems that student reporters will not tell you because they want to tell you what you want to hear. And I hope you further investigate on how you may better the lives of students at EHS rather than bicker about topics that are extraneous. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Amy Nunn.
My name is Amy Nunn, and I am a District 7 taxpayer, parent, and teacher. As a parent, my experience with District 7 has been smooth and flawless. My daughter qualified for an IEP in kindergarten with services in speech, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. She attended Goshen at that time and had access to her needed supports at her home school through a fully furnished OT, PT classroom, and full-time staff. She then attended Cassens Elementary, which had the same spaces and supports. There was little disruption in her educational day or to her relationships with her neighborhood school. She is a happy, confident, and thriving sophomore at EHS due to the support she received and had access to in her early educational years. As I mentioned, I am also a District 7 teacher. For the past 24 years, I have been teaching first grade at Hamel Elementary. I sit before you today to discuss some much-needed changes in our northern buildings. Under our current model, from fall of 2016 to spring of 2024, special education was only housed at Midway Elementary. Since fall of 2024, special education is only at Hamel. That means currently our Midway learners who qualify for IEP services and support can only receive their needed services at Hamel Elementary. Any student at Midway qualifying for IEP minutes with a special education teacher is asked to uproot their entire routine to transition to a new school. As a parent, can you imagine making this choice for your child? We ask Midway parents to decide between two options. The first option is to give their child the academic support they need to succeed and thrive, while asking them to disregard their child's emotional well-being, friendships, and known routines to move to a new school. The second option is to deny services and continue to watch their child struggle academically every single day, which will likely affect the child's confidence. Neither of these choices are choices that any other elementary parent in the same shoes must make. The district's theme this year is All Means All, and we have been tasked as educators to remove barriers and to ensure that we provide access to all students in the way that is needed for them to be supported and to thrive. Under this current model, I am not enabled to meet this task and to ensure that all of my students are supported. Under our current model, and for 21 of my 24 years at Hamel, the northern primary buildings share one administrator between the two buildings, which creates daily strain and challenge. These challenges include slower response time for student behavior, safety concerns during those behaviors, delays in family communication, time-sensitive decisions, less availability for instructional walkthroughs, coaching, IEP, 504 support, and fragmented coordination for schedules and crisis drills. As the Board of Education researches which options are best for renovation, I ask the board that they first and quickly remove these barriers for our northern learners and either consolidate the two schools so that each learner has access to the supports they need to thrive, or find a way to put full-time leadership and supports at both both Hamel and Midway, and only after that plan is in place to design and renovate a building that will match our mission of meeting the needs of all learners while still ensuring that voters get the new classrooms, a new gym, and the asbestos abatement promised in the bond proposal passed in April of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Becca Bundy?
Good evening. My name is Becca Bundy. I'm a parent of 2 children in the district and a former teacher. I taught first grade at Hamel Elementary for 10 years. I'm here on behalf of the Hamel family who asked me to speak for them. They asked for a third party because saying this themselves was too hard. And I want to be clear, I know from teaching there, what they have experienced is not an isolated case. Many other families in the Hamel Midway community are living the same pattern. So this is from the parent that I got this from, that asked me to speak. We chose District 7 for its strong schools and promises of specialized services. From a young age, my son has faced behavioral needs and an ADHD diagnosis. He's capable and eager to learn, but at Hamel, unlike every other school in the district, there was no on-site specialized support. That gap has had real impact. To my son, it felt like being singled out. While classmates followed routine, he was told the help he needed was somewhere else. This would mean leaving the friends and relationships he had built. He wondered why he was the only one who would have to leave to get support. On hard days, as attention slipped and assignments piled up, it felt like failing, not because he wasn't trying, but because the support wasn't there. There was a social cost too. New teacher, new friends, new routines, a new lunch table. Questions and looks he shouldn't have to carry. Too much for a child already struggling. For us as parents, the choice was painful. Move him for services and disrupt his stability, or keep him at Hamel without what he needed and watch him fall further behind. That is not a real choice. It was a nightly conversation that brought constant worry and guilt no matter what we decided. The district's theme is all means all. For that to be real, it must be real in every building. No school should ask families to choose between belonging and services. I'm asking for a simple student-first path. Consolidate Hamel and Midway so services are consistent, reliable, and on-site. Or fully staff both buildings with all required services and specialists so children of Midway and Hamel do not have to leave their schools to get the support they need. This isn't only about facilities, it's about equity, consistency, and dignity. Every child should feel included and supported where they learn. All means all must include Hamel and Midway, without exception and without delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie Hicks.
I would like to talk to you today about the struggles that my daughter had with getting help with her learning disabilities and the decisions that I had to make as a parent, having to choose between my child's educational and emotional well-being. She is currently in 4th grade at Warden, but I noticed back in 1st grade at Hamel that she was really struggling to read, even though she was receiving Tier 3 support. I reached out to the teachers and administrators with my concern, but no testing was done. I decided to have Helena tested by an outside neuropsychologist. However, there was a 10-month wait and very expensive to do. This is not something that every parent can afford, and a step that should not be necessary to get help. The beginning of the year in 2nd grade, I reached out to the administrators about how Helena was being tested in December and was told, okay, let me know when the results come back. End of January of 2024, I forwarded the results to the administrators at Hamel School. She was diagnosed with a severe learning disability with an impairment in reading and dyslexia, along with other learning disabilities. This is when I was told that the school must do their own testing now. We finally got our IEP meeting mid-March. This is when I was told that for her to receive full services listed on her IEP, she would have to move schools to Midway Elementary, where the special education program was housed. I was so surprised I could not believe that Hamel did not offer any kind of support for kids with IEPs like my daughter's. I was so shocked and in tears during this meeting, I found it to be a terrible option for my daughter. We had less than 2 months of school left. She had been going to Hamel since kindergarten and absolutely loved her current teacher. With only 2 months left, I felt moving her would affect the rest of her schooling along with not being good for her emotionally. As a parent, I had to make a very hard decision. I had to choose between getting my daughter the help that she needed now by switching schools or putting it off 5 months for whenever she moved to Warden. It truly is unacceptable to choose between your child's educational and emotional well-being. Schools should be able to provide IEP help for kids, and schools providing a very limited amount of help via Zoom is not the answer for a child, especially in 1st or 2nd grade. This was such a roller coaster of emotions and decisions that no parent should have to go through. I felt so relieved whenever I finally got the results, thinking now we would be able to help her because we know what's wrong, to then have to wait for the school to do their own testing to schedule the IEP meeting. And then at the end of it all, to find out that Hamel doesn't even have accommodations for kids with IEPs, that you have to switch schools to get help. These are decisions that parents should not have to make, and had the testing been done sooner, I probably would have moved her. However, I still should not have had to make that decision.
Thank you. Carla Kinsey.
Before I start, I just want to say that I am really proud of everyone who spoke or will speak tonight. It takes great courage to advocate for yourself and for your students, so thank you. Good evening. My name is Carla Kinsey, and I come before you as an educator and someone who deeply believes in the promises we make to our students, our staff, and our community. In 2023, this district asked voters for their trust and $100 million of their hard-earned tax dollars. Our community showed up like they always do. They believed in the vision that was presented to them: improved facilities, equity across schools, and a better learning environment for all. That bond wasn't just about dollars, it was a promise. Now, 2 years later, what do we see? Elementary students stuck with an outdated, non-functional gym, one that I actually went and used from a kindergartner through 6th grader. Other children are eating lunch and then sweating through PE in the same room because their cafeteria and gym are one and the same. 2 schools are sharing a principal and critical support staff, creating not just leadership strain, but real safety concerns. The loss of 2 social workers and 2 instructional coaches at the middle school level, and we cannot respond effectively to emergencies, behavior escalations, or support needs when our staff is stressed across campuses. Even more troubling, special education students are being bused to other schools for services, separated from their siblings and their homeschool community. This is not what inclusion looks like. It is not what equity looks like, and it's certainly not what was promised. Meanwhile, large sums were spent on PLC trips without batting an eye. Professional development matters, but so do functioning gyms, safe staffing levels, and keeping our most vulnerable students close to their support systems. The cost of overspending by the district is being paid in the form of support for students and unmanageable workload for teachers. Putting key projects on hold while others go over budget sends the wrong message. It tells our staff, our students, and our voters that promises are optional. That's not the standard we hold ourselves to in the classroom, and it shouldn't be the standard at the district level. I'm asking you on behalf of students, educators, and the families who voted for this bond to refocus and deliver on the district's promises. Thank you.
Okay, Caroline Roberts.
Hello, my name is Caroline Robertson. I'm 11 years old and in 6th grade at Liberty Middle School. I'm here to talk about something very personal to me, alopecia areata. Alopecia areata is an autoimmune condition that causes people to lose their hair. It can happen on your head, eyebrows, eyelashes, or even all over your body like me. It isn't contagious and it doesn't make someone sick, but it does make us look different. For kids like me, those differences can be really hard. Sometimes people stare, whisper, or even make jokes. That can hurt a lot, and it makes school feel less safe. But awareness can change that. When people understand what alopecia is, they realize there's nothing wrong with us, we just don't have hair. I'm asking for kindness, respect, and opportunities to educate others. For example, September is Alopecia Awareness Month, and my school is helping me pass out bracelets and put up posters. Small steps like these help students feel accepted and less alone. Having alopecia areata has taught me to be strong and confident, even when I don't look like everyone else. I was diagnosed when I was 6 and couldn't say the word bald. Well, so I said the word bold. We came up with a saying in our house for what bold stands for. It stands for breathe out, let's do this. You can think about any time you are afraid being a bald spot. It doesn't just happen when you are bald. I believe no kid should have to be brave just to feel normal at school. With your support, we can create an environment where every student, no matter how they look, feels like they belong, and to make sure we are inclusive. Thank you for listening, and thank you for helping make our schools a place where differences are celebrated, not hidden.
Thank you. And the last person I have signed up is Jill Martin.
My name is Jill Martin, and I'm a parent of 2 Lincoln Middle School students, one of whom has been at Lincoln throughout the entire construction project. I'm someone who does her research always, and as such, I began looking into laws surrounding asbestos abatement, coinciding with Lincoln's first big abatement project in the summer of 2024. Since 1989, local educational agencies have been required by law to have asbestos management plans for each school. These plans are to be located on site at each school and in the district office. One crucial part of every asbestos management plan is that there is to be a blueprint, diagram, or written description that clearly identifies each location and approximate square footage or linear footage of known or suspected asbestos-containing materials. These plans are to be updated anytime there is an asbestos releasing event and/or abatement. Additionally, known or suspected asbestos-containing materials in schools are to be inspected every 3 years. According to today's meeting agenda, action consideration 8.8, quote, on September 10th, 2025, during routine construction work, it was unexpectedly discovered that asbestos exists in certain parts of Lincoln Middle School, unquote. The fact that we had a surprise, it's asbestos event during the school day at Lincoln Middle School is incredibly concerning and raises questions about the accuracy of Lincoln Middle School's asbestos management plan, and further, the accuracy of the asbestos management plans for every school across the district. Let's be real, our schools are old. A great majority of them were built in a time when asbestos was routinely used in construction. While abatement has occurred in many of these buildings, it is still the duty of District 7, not to mention the law, to have accurate and up-to-date asbestos management plans noting locations of asbestos-containing materials. School board members, I urge you all to conduct an audit of every single D7 asbestos management plan at every single school and ask questions about when asbestos-containing materials were last inspected. Parents and teachers, you have the right to request to see the asbestos management plan for your building. District 7 is required by law to make that plan available to you in 5 business days. With transparency, accountability, attention to detail, honesty, and open communication, we can hopefully avoid another D7 asbestos surprise.
Okay, so that's everyone that signed up. Would anybody else like to say anything? Going. Okay. We'll move on. Before we move on to the next agenda item, the board would like to thank those who spoke this evening. While we're unable to address your comments at this time, please know that the board will have conversations with administrators about the topics brought up tonight. You should expect to hear from Dr. Shelton or appropriate staff member either by phone or email. Okay. Sorry, moving on here. Okay. Would any board member like to remove any consent agenda item for separate action? Okay. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items as amended this evening.
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? Carrie, please call the roll.
Brian,
Yes.
Bertles,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Carver. Yes. Patey.
Yes. Okay. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, Jill Burrows, parent-teacher advisory member, will provide a report.
Yes, the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee met last week, I believe, and we had Dr. Alan Duncan was the administrator in charge. He had each of the board, or the committee members introduce themselves and some facts about why they wanted to be on that committee and what students they have in the district and things like that. And then he gave a review of each of the buildings, the number of students, number of employees, and some other demographics on each of the buildings. And then he had shared earlier a survey with the committee members of what topics we wanted to have discussed at future meetings. So he gave us the list of those topic priorities. And after that, we had some real good discussion, or throughout the meeting, we had real good discussion amongst all the committee members that were present to, in regards, a lot of it had to do with the math interventions and the math programs that are introduced this year. And then we talked about some of the changes that are happening in the school this year from last year's committee members. And then we talked about future meetings as well. So it was a real good meeting.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay. 6.2, building newsletters. Link has been provided in this evening's agenda to locate the most recent building newsletters for each school. I recommend everybody check them out. A lot of good things happening around the district and all the buildings. Okay. And 7.1, at this time, Dr. Shelton will provide an update on graduation 2026.
All right, so at the request of the board, we did put out a brief survey to students and parents about graduation. We had 365 responses to the parent question, and the question was, the location I would prefer for 2026 graduation is, fill in the blank, SIUE Vidalabine Center or EHS Gymnasium. Parents, 82% to 18% preferred SIUE Vidalabine Center. On that. And then for the student survey, we had 135 responses, 61 to 39%. Students also preferred SIUE Vidalabine Center.
Oh, wow. Surprised by that.
Okay.
And as we mentioned at the last meeting, we pretty much a cost neutral move. And so at this point, we'd need some feedback from the board on moving forward with scheduling graduation at SIUE Vidalabine Center, if that's what the survey said.
Okay.
Questions or comments?
Questions? Do you have a comment?
I was hoping for EHS. I mean, if you go to school at EHS, you should graduate from EHS. But if the people have spoken, the people have spoken. And if the students have spoken, the students have spoken. I'm just one parent. I'm nobody.
You were one of the 18%, huh?
You know, I tried to take that survey over and over and over, and it said, "Thank you for filling out this survey. You're done." But I got reminders to fill it out, so I'm like, oh, hey. No.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the senior in my house did not fill out the survey. But I'm pretty sure that he didn't care where they were choosing. So
Just wants to graduate.
He just wants to graduate. He goes, as long as you're giving me the diploma, I don't care where it is. So, okay. Any other comments?
So you're looking for a motion?
I don't need a motion, I just need kind of a thumbs up. It's not anything we need a motion on. My other question is for the board, would you want us to look at this as a multi-year endeavor, or do you want us to come back and survey next year again?
Yeah, personally, I don't know that we want one class deciding future classes. It seems like a pretty simple thing to just
easy
go
to do.
back each year and.
Yeah, the narrative might change
Okay.
in their opinion. So it doesn't cost to shift to SIUE.
Doesn't cost any more than it costs us already.
But there's more parking and more seating.
Yeah, and when we knock out that wall and try to start, competing with the Enterprise Center, that everybody might change on that. So,
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That was a joke. I know. It failed. Right? Okay. Go back to the drawing board.
Yes, somebody
Okay.
will be asking if you're doing that now.
I get A for effort, right? Okay, Dr. Shelton will now provide the board a 2023, say how I say that, 2023 bond project review.
And so inviting Justin Plasick up from BLDD, he's our primary contact with BLDD Architects. He was not around for the 2023 bond project review, but as part of this, we're going to talk about the feedback session at Hamel, and so that's when he'll jump into the conversation.
He's still a patient guy.
He is.
Yeah.
He is, absolutely. So in 2022, almost 3 years ago now, we launched Engage District 7. Engage District 7 was a series of community engagement events to inform our community about the facility needs within District 7. And as part of that, we had 2 community engagement sessions as well as an online survey that people could fill out, giving feedback. So you can see those took place in October with a focus around the physical needs and functional needs assessment. And then in November, we came back and said, help us prioritize the facility projects. We also followed that up with a meeting specifically at Midway because Hamel and Midway consolidation was a conversation at that point in time. So we spoke with Midway parents on November the 30th. As part of those community engagement sessions in the online surveys, we had a total of 258 people across those 8 meetings, and those were individual bodies. So we did not always have 258 people attend both sessions. 174 filled out the informal online survey that gave feedback, and then we also had some mailers that went out and personal invitations to participate. The community engagement session 1 focused around a long-range facility improvement plan. So we talked about financing, we talked about options, we talked about timelines, we talked about costs, and I don't know about your household, but my household from a cost perspective looks very different in 2025 than it did in 2022, but we went with the cost we had in 2022. In that informal online survey, there were 169 responses, and those results aligned with the top 3 priorities that came from the table findings. So at the community engagement sessions, people got to sit in tables and have conversations and dialogue about what their table felt like was important. And so in the highest priority from the physical needs, the top 3 areas aligned with the online survey. So those top 3 areas, and I got to get my little cheat sheet up here because I can't read that far away, included building safety and secure access, the building envelope, which is a roof, exterior wall, windows, things like that, and building infrastructure, so heating, cooling, electrical, things of that nature. We also looked at the functional needs of the building. This was a little different. It didn't have a top 3, it had a top 4 to 5. But the top one was ability to control access and secure the environment, and the second one was maximize student services. And then after that, I went to spaces for specialty instruction, 21st century accommodations, flexible to change the instructional environment, and then ability to control the environment was the next one. So out of the second community engagement session, there were 9 areas that were ranked across the board. So each group got to rank, and we took the combination of those rankings, and these were those rankings. Double entry doors was the top rank, Lincoln Middle School, so on and so forth. We did give options in number 2 and number 3 to rebuild Lincoln on site or on a different plot of land. And for number 3, it was Hamel Elementary asbestos remediation classroom build or consolidate Hamel and Midway. Expanding commons, and then you can see the rest of them. As we digested through those, obviously if we weren't consolidating Hamel and Midway, we had to re-rank them so that Midway had some repairs that were much needed, and we've done the first phase of those that you'll see in just a second. So the agreement among the team that was working on this was to remove the STEM area, because that was the number 9. It was definitely the lowest ranked across the vast majority of groups, and move to 8 priorities, with the renovation of media centers being the bottom priorities. At that point, we took those 8 priorities and divided them into 2 different phases. Phase 1 was numbers 1 through 5, and then phase 2 was 6 through 8, and with the idea that there was a chance we would not get through all 8 projects. In the way a bond works is if you don't put it into the bond, you can't pay for it with the bond. So you want to overplan a bond, not underplan a bond. You want to make sure you run out of money, not have money left, because that's how you maximize what you're doing with your facilities. So the phase 1 projects became double entries at schools: Lincoln Middle School, Hamill asbestos remediation classrooms, Midway moisture mitigation, and expanding the commons at the high school. And you can see the status of those projects over on the right-hand side. And then the second phase projects were safe and accessible playgrounds, safe and accessible gymnasiums, and a media center renovation and build. And you can see the status of those on the right side. So it kind of gives you kind of a quick up to speed of where we are with bond priorities. So then we were asked by the board to visit with Hamill staff related to the concept design. So Damian Schlitt, who is the principal that you met a couple meetings ago, and Justin met with Hamill staff on Thursday, September 18th to get feedback on the space and talk through the concept design. And so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Justin and let Justin kind of talk about process and then give some of the feedback from Hamill.
Right, so Dr. Sheldon thought it'd be a good idea basically to kind of give a big overview of the design process on a construction project. So for the AE team, architectural engineering team, you're really starting out in concept design, which is where we're at right now, some programming. From there, we'd get into schematic design, and that's where we're really trying to make sure we have the correct spaces as part of the project that you have identified. Make sure the adjacencies are where they want to be. Make sure site circulation, code requirements, all of that was working. At that point, we would review that with the district and the budget, and get approval to move on to design development. At that point, that's where we're really refining the design. That's when we need to meet with the teachers one-on-one, and each of the classrooms are going to be affected to get a good understanding of how they function, the needs that are in each of those classrooms, what does that casework look like, how much storage, how many student cubbies need to be in there, really get into the details and developing that. Once we get approval for that and we're within budget, we get approval to go on to construction documents, at which point that's when we're really getting into the details, creating all the construction documents, the blueprints, the specifications that contractors will use both to bid on it and to construct it. So that's the typical timeline for a design project. Right now with Hamill, we're in the very beginning conceptual design. So from there, as Dr. Shelton mentioned, we met with the Hamill staff on Thursday to really review a couple of the options that the district asked us to put on paper, and really it was focusing on the pods, these octagon spaces that are really difficult to kind of program and use, and how can we make those more functional? How can we make them meet all the code requirements for egress, circulation, et cetera? So this is option 2. We basically presented option 2 and option 4. So option 2, and we really focused on the pods and what can be in there. So option 2, the top pod, the northern pod, that concept was basically to get the cafeteria out of the gym cafeteria space. That way it is separate. And we also have the media center and art music up top there, which then requires us to get 4 classrooms, 2 pre-K, 2 kindergarten, with a conference room in that bottom pod. The feedback we got, actually, could we skip to option 4, and then I can kind of give feedback on what we heard on both. So option 4, slightly different. This does have the northern pod with 2 kindergarten classrooms, 2 new ADA toilet rooms for each of those classrooms, a media center, as well as room for an office, a conference room up top there in the yellow. The bottom pod would have the 2 pre-K classrooms, again, each with a single user toilet room that meets ADA, conference room, and then we've got the music art with a storage room that kind of provides that acoustical buffer from the classroom. That southern pod has the 1 quarter off that I guess the IT closet adjacencies. The northern pod, again, we had to have that corridor go out to the north to meet the travel distances and exit requirements. This option also shows a new gym to the east of the existing cafeteria, to the right side there. So the cafeteria would remain where it's at now, and then we've got the new gym. So the feedback we heard, we got quite a bit of good details. So it's really just information gathering that we wanted. What works, what doesn't work, what spaces are we missing? I think we got some great feedback with that. I would say the main, I guess, pain point concern with option 2, and I think we heard it again tonight from one of the speakers, is that cafeteria just is not going to work well. There's just a lot of concerns with that. Travel distances from the kitchen, kids carrying the trays, you got a long ways to go. So if that were to happen, you're really looking at probably reconfiguring the kitchen. Almost you have to flip it to make that work efficiently, as well as that's taking up programmatical educational space of that pod, right? So that's taking up classroom space, office space, and so those are 2 major concerns for them that we heard. We also need to incorporate a speech office as well as a reading office. Currently, I think those are either non-existent or in a closet type space, so not ideal, which then kicked off some deficiencies of the existing space of the main office. So what we heard is that main office really needs to be right-sized. The teacher's lounge is too small. You can only fit a small portion of the teachers and the staff, so it's really not that usable. The current staff restroom does not meet ADA. It's really small. The exhaust currently doesn't work in there. I think mechanically in that entire upper main office wing is not functioning great at this point. They also mentioned some electrical issues. Now that would be something that would be addressed with this project. We did take a look at the existing service, and we don't believe that you have to increase the service to provide new mechanical of the pod areas, and possibly not if you build an addition for that gym as well. The biggest problem is a lot of those outlets in that main office areas are on the same circuit, so those breakers tend to trip. So we would address all the electrical issues with whatever project moves forward. So we did also discuss the new gym as well as how the circulation would work, create a new corridor between, I guess, where the existing gym cafeteria is to make that straight connection to that southern classroom wing. And then it was really talked about that this gym needs to be a storm shelter, at least the staff feels that way, just to be equal to the other gyms that have been built recently, like Lincoln has a storm shelter in the new gym. So to be equitable, that was a big pain point for them as well. And I'd say the final thing is really understanding how pickup and drop off will work. Currently they use that northern pod for a lot of that, so really we'd have to study that. How does this affect those items? So.
There are also a lot of requests for storage space, whether it's casework or closets or something. Storage space and restrooms were another big piece.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'd have to get in that detail once we get into design development to understand where that storage is, how much do we need, how much of that is getting moved off site that's in that northern pod. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done.
Any questions specifically for Justin, and then I'll jump back into the bond priorities.
So this does not include, you talked about the functionality of the offices. This design does not include a remodel of the office space.
Not currently. The options you saw the last board meeting, I think with the cost from Holland, did not include a full renovation of that main office area. It did include adding the sprinklers, new ceilings and lighting due to that, new flooring where areas got abated, but as far as right sizing those spaces, that was not included, no.
Okay. And then of the affected areas of the construction, how much of the building left? Obviously, those areas would be abated, correct? Mm-hmm. How much of the building is left that still needs to be abated?
It really depends on the scope that is finalized, but at this point, we are wanting to abate everything out of there.
Perfect.
The south pod,
And that's what was included in Holland's cost.
has the
Yeah.
south pod been invaded though? Okay, I was thinking that was,
No.
that had been, okay.
So yeah, you have to abate both the classroom pods. There's ceilings and flooring down the corridors. There's some of the skylights have it around there. There's flooring and like the cafeteria gym area. There's also the perimeter ceilings in that gym area on the diagonals that would have to be abated, and then all the glazing of the pods in that gym area would get abated as well. And there's some interior glazing around the kitchen area.
So just brainstorming, because there's been a lot of facts brought tonight as far as the administration area. Would it be feasible to expand the gym and remove the administration area from where it is now and put that someplace different?
I think there's options to do that. The challenge with expanding the gym is that existing structure and how it's built right now. It's kind of a,
With the ceiling and stuff?
yeah, it's an odd space.
Yeah.
Everybody that has been in there. So, and just the size of it, if you're trying to get a rough size of what we're showing now, that really wants to be.
Yeah, Jill, I tried to play architect and say, well, let's just take the current gym and double it, right? So you have half gym. That's cheaper, right? It's actually more expensive than it is to just build a new gym. Because of the way the structure works, you have to kind of remove everything except for the walls and kind of start over.
There's just challenges with some of the heights that are in there for a gym space. If that does become a storm shelter, this gym, you need that 2-hour fire rating barrier between it to separate it. So get that to happen within the existing building is tough and costly. It can be done, but it's just hard.
I know there was concern about the foot traffic going in and out of the new gym, going through the cafeteria. And I think, Bob, you had mentioned, let's just call it south because I don't know what direction that is, but south being down, that from the bottom of the gym, extending that out to make an access. Would it be possible just to take that whole gym and move it down to where it connects with that south portion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are just really conceptual diagrams just to get that square footage for Holland that kind of cost and see what's possible and get feedback. But yeah.
What are the two boxes at the bottom, as we call the south or the down? Are those the admin's offices?
No, so I think if you're pointing to the two boxes below the A and the F, is that correct? Is that what you're pointing to?
Yeah, just whatever those two are at the
So
furthest bottom of the
that's
sheet.
actually the southern classroom wing, so first grade and on. We're not actually showing it all, we cut it off, so there's actually more classrooms that keep going.
What if we converted the current gym, that's that wood atrium, right? It's really
Correct.
cool. It's a cool structure. You
It
don't
is,
want to lose
yeah.
it. But if you were to create that as offices and you were, the interior, the offices themselves were all glass, and you were just to go around in a big circle, how many offices could you build out? And then you take your new gym and add it to some other place.
And there was a cafeteria.
Yeah, that's- yeah.
No, you'd have cafeteria, and adjacent to it would be a new gym.
You're gonna build a new cafeteria and a gym, is that what you said? Or is that not what you said?
Well,
Because
they're
the gym and
adding,
the cafeteria are the same right now.
but number 4 is adding a new cafeteria.
Number
Adding
4
a
is a
new
new
gym.
gym.
No,
Number
new
4 is a new
gym.
gym,
The
existing
cafeteria is gonna stay where it's at, because that's adjacent to the kitchen.
So the wooden structure is what you guys call the cafeteria? Oh,
It's both.
Yeah, cafetorium.
And gym.
Cafeteria, you have to call it something different.
Gymateria.
What do you want it to be?
Wouldn't that be cool to make offices?
Yeah.
Be really cool.
I don't know.
Gotta build a kitchen.
But then they need a kitchen.
Okay.
I would say it's possible. I think, the downside of that is you getting natural light from the exterior for your offices. If you move the cafeteria out, then we're in the same situation of further away from the kitchen.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think anything is doable. We can look at it and get feedback on it from the teachers and the staff.
Of the feedback from the teachers, how, with the new renovated pods, how well was the size of those received and the functionality of them? I mean, do they have enough windows, natural light? I know there's concern about no natural light
So the natural light is very limited in those pods currently, how it's constructed. There's basically a 3'4", 3'6" narrow window kind of on each side of the corner of each one of those octagons. Some have a door in it, some do not. The current project was not really adding a whole lot of new windows. Those are structural walls, so we have to be limited on where we can put those, and the expense to open that up. But that exterior natural lighting is a challenge with those pods.
Are skylights an option?
Skylights are an option. I'm not sure what the district stance is on skylights. There's a lot of districts that don't love them just because if they're not installed correctly, they can be a maintenance problem. Architects love them.
I mean, I think for me, I'm trying to understand, I mean, because obviously, and I guess this gets more to the priorities, kind of driving where we need to be kind of focused as options. I mean, left to its own devices, this option in itself, I mean, makes a lot of sense when you compare it to option 2. Obviously, we've got a lot of things to consider. I mean, the option 2 with the cafeteria being separate from the kitchen just does not sound like a great, for elementary children, a great option. So
Having
that
walked
kind
it this morning, I think
it
it would
just
be a
seems
challenge.
like you're kind of asking for a lot of spilled milk.
Yep.
But we're not supposed to cry over spilled milk, right? So-
Yeah, I mean, the feedback we heard was really that was a non-starter, quite honestly. That was one of the biggest pain points. There was others for sure.
That's why we have this conversation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Any recommendations from the teachers and staff that went, that would work? Versus, I mean, the design options that you guys have created.
Be careful how you answer this.
No, I think functionality-wise, as far as the number of pre-K classrooms being 2 kindergarten classrooms, each having ADA single-user restrooms, I think those are positives. Getting a conference room or 2. I think our challenges is to make sure that we get the other offices, the reading, the speech, and their OTPT. Right now, it's kind of in a closet. Is there a way to get that in there? We did get good feedback on the art and music room. We get used 2 days a week. Is there a way to reduce that size to get some of those other functions into the pods? So I think there was some great feedback, and we'll learn a lot more if it moves forward, and we can get into the details of exactly what needs to be in there.
After the meeting, Justin and I spent probably a half an hour kind of walking the building and talking about where some spaces, looking at some of the spaces that they were concerned about, walking the office, looking at kind of where some of the pinch points might be of what we can and can't do, because there's a lot of concrete block in that building. And so some of it's structural, some of it's not. And so determining that is going to kind of identify a lot of what we can do.
Right, so we were, I mean, even in the pods, that center area, walls, those are all structural load-bearing walls. There is plumbing there, so that's why we were trying to keep the toilet rooms off those kindergarten rooms near that central core, so we're not having to cut up the slabs and run a bunch of pipe. Now, that northern pod, there's currently only a 3-inch line, so just to add toilet rooms in there, we are replacing that 3-inch with a 4-inch. We're gonna have to, if that's what happens. So, yeah. There's some challenges for sure, but nothing we can't figure out with input from you guys and the staff. So
The other piece is, and we'll get into this as we get into schematic design development, but the amount of asbestos there and trying to abate all of that in the summer and then open for the following year is going to be a challenge. Holland assures us it's not an insurmountable challenge, but it is a challenge, and we need to be prepared for some spaces to not be totally done when school starts just because of the amount of that's going on. But that's better than stretching out over 2 summers, because then we're going to pay a lot more in construction costs to do that, because you're going to have to abate twice, you're going to have to construct twice.
So I just want to kind of zoom out for a second on this, because I've heard, through my tour this morning, through various comments, that this, the construction is one piece of this, but I think there are staffing concerns and potential consolidation conversations that are important for us to be having before we make any decisions on what
avenue.
So one of the questions that was asked was, if we do this, does that mean we don't have a conversation about consolidation? And my answer was no. This is something that has to happen regardless of what happens with consolidation. Consolidation was an active conversation for about a 9-month period, and we halted it because we couldn't solve the transportation problem. So that's where that sits, is waiting on transportation, our transportation study. We cannot put little kids on a bus for more than 60 minutes. And right now, there is no way to get students from the northwest side of the district to Hamel in a timely manner. And so our commitment to Midway families was, we're halting that conversation until we can solve that problem.
But the other question of that is, would construction, how many kids are at Midway?
100?
So would Hamel be big enough to add 100 kids?
No.
That's the other concern. So the consolidation, how do we do that when there's not even enough space?
Would this current construction plan prohibit us from adding on or handcuff us in any way, shape, or form to where we couldn't add on if a consolidation did occur?
No, I would say it would not, just because we're basically rebuilding in the same spot that's there.
Okay.
And you got a lot of area to the south there to grow if you had to.
How similar is this plan compared to the promised plan?
That I.
What's the promise?
That, it's not, because the promise plan was a consolidation plan, so it was going to house 300 students. So it had additional classroom construction, it had additional cafeteria construction, just because you have a larger number of staff and kids to serve.
I think what Matt's getting to, because after the bond vote, there was a presentation of like a full design and all that kind of stuff, where I think it was like 16 million to 18 million. I mean, I guess what he's asking is, how does it compare to that plan, regardless of whether it was consolidation or not?
In that plan, we were tearing the pods down.
Yeah, I remember that.
And just from a financial standpoint, it didn't make sense to tear the pods down. And I think, Jill, you asked the same question. Is it just cheaper to build something new than it is to tear the pods down, or to abate the pods? And it's not, but it's not far off either. And I don't know that we'll really know the cost of that until we get in further into design development, which is a slippery slope to go, right? Because with Hamel, we're at a fork in the road. And the fork is, do we want BLDD to do more work, not knowing what we're doing yet, or do we want to wait until we have a decision to do some more work?
But when you talk about building something new, are you talking about building something new for current, or if we expand, or if we can merge the schools?
That's a board decision.
I mean, I'm saying cost-wise, is it way more expensive to, it's one
obviously-
cost for right now to build something new, but if we merge schools, is that a lot more of a cost?
Depends on what you build. I mean, the current cafeteria can serve, they serve about 50 meals a day right now. They can serve about 90 a day. That's capacity. So it'd be tight. It'd be close with Midway. You don't have a lot of room for growth there. The current cafeteria, you could sit the grade level together still. They use about 4 tables now. You'd need 6 to 7. With Midway, they could probably do that. But gym space, that's not going to be big enough. You're going to run out of space very quickly.
But if somebody had land to donate right in the middle and wanted to help us build a building.
There's land there. You could just
That we
build
don't have to pay for as a district.
No, but I'm saying, we could probably build a brand new building right behind this, to the south of it, there's plenty of land.
No, I'm saying between.
And then tear this one down and
to take the
and start over.
transportation issue away in the middle of the 2 schools, between them.
Split the
between
difference.
Midway and
Yeah,
Hamel?
yeah.
Gotcha.
It's big enough for both.
Okay. So we need 2 things from the board. Number 1, we need direction with bond priorities, and is there any other information that the board needs related to that? And then a little direction on Hamel, even if it's hold. That's also direction for us to at least pause the process until we can get more information.
Well, I guess I don't understand the question. So, we're not going to be deciding in the next month to, like, this is our plan. Right? That's what you're getting to, because you were wanting to go.
Correct.
Like, start getting things.
Do you want
ready for
BLDD to
bid.
do any additional work? Not necessarily for bid, but is there anything else you want them to do related to Hamel?
I guess more than anything is, have we come to terms as far as a tighter number for what option 4 is and for what option 2. I mean, it sounds like option 2 is kind of out, but I mean, at least what option 4, how much that costs. I mean, because the priorities are, you know, it's a one and done. I mean, we've got 3 options potentially, and we can't do 2 of them. We can only do 1 of the 3. So of the priorities, it's like, which is the higher priority and what is left over from that? Or do we go all in on just one of the priorities? So that's, I mean, from my perspective, that's how I see this. You know, if the requirements for what we feel that we need to, based on, you know, the staffing requirements and what we need to be able to provide the students in those areas directs us that that's what's needed, then, I mean, we have $10 million. If option 4 is $7 million, that's $3 million left, then maybe we need to start thinking seriously what to do with that extra $3 million with regard to Hamel and what it gets us. I mean,
So am I also hearing that the High School Media Center and Columbus are off the table at this
no,
point?
I mean,
Okay.
those are the 3 priorities: Hamel, Columbus, Media Center. We can't do all.
All 3, right.
And we can't do 2 of them.
2 either.
We could do a little bit of one and all of another. You know, potentially option 2 for Hamel gave us the ability to move and do Columbus. But if we're saying that option 2 is not going to fit the bill to be able to do what we need, then it truly is a 1, 2, or 3. So then I guess that leads to the requirements conversation.
I still think it would be helpful to have a little bit more information on kind of exploring the staffing piece of this, only for the sense of, if we're going to be making a decision, you know, even a year or 2 years down the road, that we do decide consolidation is the right thing, have we built the wrong building now for what the actual need is in a year or 2?
Right.
And I think it's better to pre-plan those things and understand the transportation issues, understand the administration and staffing issues before we sink all of our remaining bond money into a project that may not ultimately be what's needed.
What's the timeline that we have to, like, use the remaining funds?
The funds that are from the 2023 bond have to be used by 2028, by April of 2028. The funds from the bonds just issued, you have till 2030.
Say that again, please.
2030?
The bonds from the April 2023 bond. You
Okay.
have, and Dave, jump in, because your area. You have till April of 2028, and they have to be used.
Okay.
Not planned, not allocated, they have to be spent. So the project has to be completed before, let's say, December 2027, January 2028.
So we still have time.
You do. The bonds that were issued this past February,
The extra 10 million.
And these
10,
are 10
yeah,
million.
11 million or so. Those have to be spent by that same month of 2030. You have 5 years from the issuance of the bond.
Does that also include the interest off of them? Or is that just the original amount?
It doesn't, but when you get into this, dilute the conversation, but when you get into interest, income, earnings, and arbitrage calculations, the longer you hold them and don't spend them, the more that they...
I get that.
So-
I'm just thinking though from exploding kitten,
No.
you know,
Right.
3 or 4 years from now,
Right.
you know,
Right.
is that, you know, I mean,
The
'cause-
interest income, when we do those projections, is built in to the 5-year window.
Dave, the arbitrage from the first bond, is that due after April 2028? Is
Yes.
that due in that? So
Yes.
there's actually potentially 2 arbitrage
Correct.
windows, one 2028 and one 2030.
Okay.
I don't understand why we keep kicking the can down the road. You know, the priorities are out there. They've been out there since 2023. We know what the priorities are. We have to have a direction. If we just say, oh, we'll deal with it next time, we only meet every 2 weeks. and then we have a pointless conversation about things and say, maybe we should think about this a little bit longer. We need a clear direction on where to go. So is it either Hamel, or is it Columbus, or is it the Media Center? If it's Hamel, let's choose Hamel and say, push us in the direction, let's start the construction process at Hamel, because if we keep kicking it down the road, we're never gonna get anywhere.
I understand what you're saying, and I think that's why we wanted to be able to talk about the priorities for the bond, so.
But also, part of the issue is the transportation thing is up in the air, and we're waiting for that to come through. And
From a consolidation perspective.
right, from a consolidation, and so
Right.
we don't want to, if we start changing these and we need to consolidate, well, Hamel's not big enough.
Consolidation would be way, way down the road. We've been dealing with this transportation study before I even got on this board, and we are no closer to solving it than we are when we started. So I don't understand why it's so hard for us to work together to decide, yes, Hamel is what we want. That proposed plan up there, you said won't handcuff us, right? If we decide to consolidate and put it all together.
In theory, that's just adding classrooms to the south.
So if we decide to consolidate in 2-3 years, we add on.
Well, when that happens, if we do consolidation, I would imagine that'll have to be part of the plan.
Issue.
But not moving forward keeps asbestos in that building.
I guess my point in saying that maybe we try to get more information is, if we, and to your point, I don't know how long it would take to get the transportation study done to understand about consolidation, but if that were to be the case, let's say a year or two down the road, and the better decision would be to build a brand new school with $10 million rather than try to shoehorn. That's just my thought there.
That's if we can get the money. Right now, we spout inclusivity and integrity. And if our district lacks the integrity to spend the money that we promised the public, they're not going to give us any more money.
To answer the transportation question, we anticipate providing a proposal to the board this fall, winter on transportation. Potentially for next fall. That doesn't solve the midway problem, but it would solve the other parts of transportation. We'd have an answer on that.
Well, through all this though, we're talking about priorities. I agree with Matt in the sense that the priorities were already out there. We did have a request to discuss the priorities that were in a thing, and you went through and talked about sort of, how they were developed, all that. The list though that you showed, I wasn't necessarily remembering that list. I think what a lot of people remember is the slide presentation from the March 13th, 2023 meeting where the phase 1, phase 2, Hamel was number 2 on the list.
Yep, it's still posted on the district website right here.
Yeah. So, number 2 on the list, then, further down was Columbus, and then the Media Center was last. But on yours, I was kind of surprised that we had Media Center way higher on the list. So, I'm not sure which list we're looking at, because it seems like every time we present a list, the list changes. And so last year was my concern with how we go through this process. It seems like there's no standard list that we look at. So,
Bob, if I remember right, earlier this year, that's when we approved the $10.2 million to go to the Media Center, and that's when the priority got shifted from Hamel to the Media Center. I'm with Matt in that we made promises, to break promises. We told them we were going to do something to improve the conditions that the kids were in out there in Hamel. We need to honor those promises. Money was, allocated for it. Let's move forward with it. I've spoken behind closed doors and I'll speak in public. I am not for having kids in a school where there's any form of asbestos. Plus, when we're sitting here looking at it, when we did this in 23, where was the transportation study done? Did we complete it? That's a question for you there, Mr. Sheldon. Did we complete the transportation study?
Are we completing the transportation study? Yes.
Did we complete it in 23?
No. We started it in 23.
Okay. You started in 23, and here we are now in 25. That's exactly what Matt's saying. If we keep talking about it, we're just going to keep throwing it down the road. Let's move forward with this.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of levels to the transportation study, and the one thing we also had decided or had talked about as a board was to do the transportation, the 7-period day, as well as the possible flipping of time schedules and things like that, that it was a multi-fingered approach, and now that has shifted. So I think, you know, there's been a lot of shifts and pivots, or whatever you want to call it, in the last 6 months, 9 months, whatever it is. And I think there's reasons why things have not been brought forward to the board to make decisions, because the board has gotten changed of priorities, changed of ideas, changed of, you know, direction for the administration to follow. That's part of it, in my opinion. But
a transportation study is something that could be going on seamlessly in the background while you're still dealing with these other issues. There's no excuse for why that transportation study couldn't have been completed.
Scott, I agree with you when we're talking about transportation. I personally, and maybe somebody can explain to me, I'm not necessarily sure that the transportation study, or whether or not it, you know, has been done, hasn't been, you know, should be done, or whether it'll address the concerns with Midway, or I think those are all separate issues. I mean, we have $10 million.
It's a separate issue, but it's an issue because now each time you talk about moving forward with something going on out in Hamilton, you go back and say, well, we still have to complete the transportation study. Whereas if you complete it, then you have that data to make an assessment on, and you can say, okay, based on this presented to us here, we can move forward with this assessment. Or we can say, based on this data here, we're going to have to go in a different direction. Let's complete the transportation study in the background while you look at these other things.
And we are doing that.
I'm going to come back to that we have three buckets that we don't have enough money to fill all three buckets. We have to choose one of the buckets, and then we have to decide as a board, are we sticking with the original priorities that the voters voted for, or are we changing that? I personally feel like that there are, and I mean, a lot of people that voted based on those priorities, that we need to take in consideration future bonds and how they'll be considered by the community if we don't stick with them. That's just my opinion. Regardless of whether the priorities fully encompass the realities of how everybody felt, those are the priorities that we went to the public and said, this is how we understand it, and this is what they voted on. So it's my opinion. I feel that if we've got 10 million, and if option 4 is deemed to be, that's the direction we go, then we need to decide, you know, are we all in with that, or are we going to use the remaining funds on playgrounds or a media center at some of the other priorities that were higher than the EHS media center, because there's not enough money to do Columbus and Hamilton. So those are the decisions before us.
is there any way, I have a huge problem spending $7 million, $8 million plus, because does that include the asbestos removal?
It does not. It was
That's
7 million construction, yeah, 7 million construction plus about 1.6 in soft costs.
So it would be above that yet. And
Yeah.
would that money come out of the bond money?
Yes.
So that, I mean, then
It can,
basically that's.
it could come out of health, life, safety as well.
Health, life, safety could
Okay.
be used for that.
Okay. But it's still dollars,
Yes.
district dollars.
Yes.
Taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
And again, I'm gonna just play architect, I don't know, but there's just so many problems with the existing building, excluding the new wing that was recently built, well, however many, 15 years ago, I call it new, but I guess it wasn't, it isn't really new. Does it make sense to do something completely different? Rather than keep, and I know you said if by the time you still have to remove the asbestos, even if you're just gonna tear it down. So that asbestos removal cost is there no matter if you're renovating or if you are just tearing it down and getting rid of it.
Are you asking how much a new school behind it would be?
Kind of.
What say you?
That's really a question for your construction managers to answer.
Yeah, we can certainly get an answer to that and have it back in October.
It's a lot of money for 140 students and, or potentially 240 students, and there's a lot of.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair statement. I don't think that was fair.
It's a lot of money to.
It is a lot of money, but it's.
To spend in general, but I
it's-
think it just needs to be well planned,
And
right?
it needs to be done.
Whatever we're gonna do with this money, it needs to be well planned.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all I'm saying. I am all in on moving forward with whatever bond priority we decide is the most appropriate to move forward with. But I think it's something that we need to think through how to best use that money.
Right,
And maybe maybe it ends up being option 4 at Hamel. But I do think there are just a few pieces of information that would be
Population growth, family
helpful to
growth.
have.
Sure.
So we
Sure,
know,
needs
we
to
know
be
option
done.
2 from the pod perspective was not doable. We got that feedback loud and clear. What we heard was, take the gym out of option 4. The pods in option 4 were much closer to what was needed, as long as we understand pickup drop-off, pre-K pickup drop-off, some closet casework kinds of work. I don't want to put the cart before the horse and speak for you, Justin, but I think we can probably refine that a little bit and bring that back with a closer cost estimate. I will tell you that every time we do that costs a little bit of money to do it. I just want to be clear about that. But I also want to make sure that you have the information that you need to put in front of you to make a decision. Because what I'm hearing right now is, it's not option 2, but I'm not sure about option 4, and it's a lot of money to spend, and is there somewhere in the middle? And maybe we can refine it a little bit and see what we can do.
But it still doesn't fix the office issues and the
That's
break
right.
room issues,
And-
and that's why.
And I think those have to be separate conversations, because not to say, I don't want to say those aren't problems, because they are,
Yeah.
but those are problems that we need to address in maybe a different way.
Right, but if we think about that, I don't know what it would cost for those, but then are we getting to the cost of what a new building would cost?
Well,
15
You know,
million
or
bucks
if we
is what we
merge
had
schools,
budgeted
or-
that we already can't afford.
What's that?
Well, they originally budgeted, what, 15.2 or 15.8 million dollars for the renovation. And we already can't afford that. So if we can get a little bit of a start to building on the, maybe down the road if we get more money and continue on with a new school, but we gotta start somewhere. And, to Alma's point, I agree, this has gotta be well thought out, but sitting here staring at each other, not doing anything is not solving anything. We gotta get going.
I agree, and that's why I think we have to commit ourselves to the priorities. I mean, and there is no way we can do more than one priority and do it right. I just don't see, because I don't, and I'm, excuse the term, but I don't want to put lipstick on a pig, and there you are. I mean, we've spent money and we don't have any way to expand. We don't have anything to provide as additional services. I mean, if we're going to do it, we got to pick it and go all in.
What's your bid proposal on option 4?
7-something million.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know,
about
probably
eight.
needs Patrick.
What's that?
I think they asked what the cost was for option 4.
Option 4
With
was about
asbestos.
7 million construction,
Okay.
with about 1.6 on top in AE and asbestos abatement.
And that does not include the offices.
Correct.
Or the-
Correct.
That's only the pods,
Correct.
basically, and the gym.
Right. But again, with the money we have left over, that gives you the ability. I mean, if we were to commit ourselves and see what can we do with the remaining funds, what does it get us? I feel like we're holding back too much, thinking we'll have money for something else, And as a result, we're painting ourselves in a corner to not do anything right. And if we're going to do it, let's do it.
Yep. Do it right.
Can you remind us, Dr. Shelton, just for my understanding of what it would have cost or what it would cost for like a new Columbus gym? Just so I have
10 million.
10 million, okay.
That was the cost opinion we got.
And they have they have building problems too, they need fixed. that we
And
didn't talk about
that's
here.
without it being a storm shelter?
Yes.
What other schools have storm shelters?
Just
or
Lincoln.
gyms? Just Lincoln?
Just Lincoln.
But there's no safety concerns with Columbus's gym. It just needs an upgrade or a facelift.
No, there are safety concerns.
Yeah.
They got pillars in the middle of the gym.
And drainage issues.
And drainage issues, yeah.
There are no good options.
It's a hard, yeah, it's hard.
I wouldn't take my kids to school in Hamlin because of asbestos. I just wouldn't. If the building sneezes wrong, I wouldn't want my children in it.
Okay.
So that, to me, that's a bigger safety issue.
I agree, but I also agree with Matt. I think we're at a point where it's just, it's all talk. So I think we just need to see some clearer options based on the priorities we have. I mean,
We need to make a decision by the next board meeting on what we're going to do.
or at least a direction. I mean, I don't know, I mean.
Well, I'll submit to put it as an
Well,
action item and we'll go from there, because I just sitting here is driving me bonkers.
Yeah, we're just talking in
Well,
circles
I
at this
think
point,
you
so we
said
need to
it
make a
best
direct
earlier,
decision.
Bob.
What'd you say?
Bob, you said it best earlier when you said the voters in '23 voted on a referendum. That's your priority.
Yep. Okay. To give you a direction.
Enough of one.
Okay.
We'll bring some Hamel things back at October 6th.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Justin.
Appreciate it. Okay. We're moving on to action considerations.
We are.
Okay. Okay. Approval of action item 8.1. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the disposal of verbatim recordings for the Board of Education's closed session meetings held from November 13th, 2023 through March 11th, 2024.
Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, approval of action item 8.2. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the first reading of policy updates as presented and reviewed by the board during the September work session.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just as a reminder, these are review and monitor as part of Press Plus issue 119.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, approval of action item 8.3. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve a general commitment agreement to join the Southwestern High School Conference commencing July 1st, 2026 for a period of 10 years.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just background, the Southwestern Conference is restructuring to include 3 new schools that will be joining the Southwestern Conference in 2026. So they're asking all districts to recommit to the Southwestern Conference. We are a charter member and have no desire to go anywhere else.
But 10 years is different than what we normally do, a 10-year commitment.
Yes, we've not done it. We may have done a 10-year commitment when we first joined years and years ago, but it's been an ongoing commitment that we just haven't had.
And every district that is joining or is going to be a part of the Southwestern Conference will be expected for that 10-year commitment?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Carrie, please call the roll.
Carver,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Bertles,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Bryan,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
and Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.4. Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve an intergovernmental agreement between Edwardsville Community Unit School District Number 7 and the Edwardsville Public Library to provide library services to students who attend District 7 but live outside an area not served by another public library system.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope, just, I love this one.
Okay, cool. Carrie, please call the roll.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Carver,
Yes.
Bertles,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.5, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the extension of an intergovernmental agreement between Edwardsville Community Unit School District Number 7 and the Regional Office of Education 41 Madison County to provide instructional services at the Madison County Detention Center for the 2025-2026 school year.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Carrie, please call the roll.
Bertles,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Carver,
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.6, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a ground license agreement between the Edwardsville Community Unit School District Number 7 and the EGHM School District 7 Foundation for the purpose of submitting an application to the Agency for Community Transit Incorporated for a community action grant.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So just a little background information. Gene, if you want to throw that slide up. We do have a visual to go with this. So the 157 shared use pathway was developed on the south side of the building. So you can see Woodland there on the left-hand side, Lincoln on the right-hand side. The shared use pathway goes along 157. It's not built in this because Google Maps doesn't have it up yet. But it was built without access to Woodland. And so this is to apply for a grant. The grant application can only be submitted by a 501(c), which our foundation is a member. So this gives them the ability to apply to put a connector from the shared use pathway that you can see there at the bottom of the screen with switchbacks that would go up to create a crosswalk and biking area for students and families at Woodland.
So the Y at the bottom is 157?
The Y at the bottom is the shared use path, and then 157 is right beyond that. So the fork in the path goes, that would be where you'd go onto the shared use path, and then you would go up and among switchbacks, and because there's about 15 feet of grade there that you have to navigate.
And then that where it curves over on the left, is that the exit?
When it curves over on the
Well,
left.
Yeah, I don't have
No,
an
it's
exit
not,
part.
it's not working back there. So yeah, on the bottom, the Y,
Yeah.
that's the exit to the shared use path. At the very top, you can see the crosswalk where it goes up to the building.
Okay.
So it kind of serpentines
Yep.
up the hill.
Yep. That keeps
for
it,
grading
that
reasons.
keeps it at an under 5% grade, which means it does not need rails, and this is an 8-foot wide proposed.
For the parking, where those parking spots are, bike rack, and then
Correct.
comes out and turns left and then comes down the exit of the.
No,
Out of the
that's
parking lot?
actually,
Yeah,
Is that
out
what
of the
you're
parking
asking?
lot.
that actually, the crosswalk that goes across would go straight to the stairs that go up to the cafeteria at Woodland,
Okay, I got it.
if that helps, on the left-hand side of the main entrance.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. Any other discussion? Okay, Carrie, please call the roll.
Carver,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Bertles,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval action item 8.7, Dr. Shelton, I must be tired.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a memorandum of understanding between Edwardsville Community Unit School District Number 7 and the Nature Preserve Foundation or Watershed Nature Center to allow for the sharing of a district-employed certified teacher with the Watershed Nature Center for the 2025-2026 school year.
May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? We've done this for a couple of
This
years,
is our third
right?
year now.
Third year, okay. Okay, Carrie, please call the roll.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Bertles,
Yes.
Ahart,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Carver,
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.8, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve a resolution declaring an emergency abatement contract with American Asbestos Abatement LLC, DBA Midwest Service Group, to provide asbestos abatement in the amount of $146,680.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So this abatement, this asbestos was unknown. It was discovered inside the wall. So at some point during a renovation, asbestos was placed in the walls as an insulator. And so that's what was found as they were tearing down walls. They found asbestos inside, stopped construction, so it was not disturbed. And we have already done air quality testing to ensure that no asbestos has been airborne. And so we want to abate it over parent-teacher conferences and do conferences virtually for Lincoln.
Okay, and that communication is going out after the meeting?
This week, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Carrie, please call the roll.
Bertles.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Carver.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.9, Dave Courtney.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the attached budget resolution relating to the 2025-2026 budget.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Carrie, please call the roll.
Carver.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.10, Dave Courtney.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the adoption of the 25-26 district budget and sign the attached required ECUSD budget cover sheets.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Good to have a budget. Carrie, please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Carver.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.11, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve a resolution to adopt the 2025 Madison County Multi-Jurisdictional All Hazards Mitigation Plan.
Okay. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second? Awesome. Any discussion?
Can you give us some background of?
Yes, so the Madison County All Hazards Mitigation Plan is something that every jurisdiction within Madison County can sign on to, city, park districts, you name it. When you submit projects that are needed for hazard mitigation, then you qualify for money that might be related to grants through FEMA. So things like storm shelters for buildings, crisis planning, anything that would involve tornado, water, hazards, things like that.
Have we done this before, prior?
Dave, have we done this before? I believe it's done every 10 years. Does that sound right?
Oh, okay.
Cool. Any other discussion? Carrie, please call the roll.
Bertles.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Carver.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.12, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the resignations and retirements of employees as discussed earlier in executive session.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Carrie, please call the roll.
Carver.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, approval of action item 8.13, Dr. Shelton.
Thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve personnel matters related to the appointment, employment, compensation, or transfer of employees pending required certifications and professional educator license, completion of paperwork, and all background fingerprint checks completed and cleared as discussed earlier in executive session.
May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Carrie, please call the roll.
Sanderson.
Yes.
Carver.
Yes.
Bertles.
Yes.
Ahart.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Brahan.
Yes.
Patey.
Yes. Okay, are there any board members that wish to share a brief announcement? Okay. For everybody, 10.1 is proposed agenda topics for October 6th for your all's review. Obviously subject to change. We had planned to go to executive if needed, but we don't need to do that now. So then, with no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, so signify by saying aye.
Aye.